The first filter we're going to go over in today's snipe filter video is the endgame Pacific division filter, man. What you want to do is set your theme to endgame, put your division to Pacific, and you're going to raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest Kobe Bryant on your console, which on the Xbox is going for about 35,000 MT, man. What I do suggest is you scroll on the cheapest Kobe. However, you have to be very particular with the pricing, man. So really, like Wilt and Magic, they both go for like 40,000. So you want to grab them for about 33,000 MT and below if they pop up. If Kobe pops up for about 30,000 MT and below, you can go ahead and buy him. And then if Shaq pops up for any price point on the scroll you're working at all, obviously buy him, as he is much more expensive. This is a very good filter, man. I've been making a lot of MT on this filter, so give it a try, man. Before we get into the rest of the snipe filters, for the most reliable and cheapest 2k23 MT, hit up my sponsor at NBA2king.com and use code GRINDS for 5% off. The next filter we're going to go over is the endgame Mavericks filter, man. What you want to do is set your theme to endgame, put your team to the Mavericks, and you're going to raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest Luka on your console. He goes for about 22,000 MT. Usually you can sell him for. This one's up for a little bit cheap, man. Obviously I don't want it, but he is cheap. What you want to do is scroll with the cheapest Luka up, man. If Luka pops up for about 17,000 and below, about 5,000 MT cheaper than the cheapest one, go ahead and grab it. Like I said, he usually sells for 22, so that's why, 17,000. You can grab him for 15,000 below if you want. And then if anybody else pops up, man, buy him as quick as possible. You can see Dirk, a couple other good cards on here that are all way more expensive, man. So give this filter a try. The next filter we're gonna go over is the center endgame filter. I think this might be my favorite filter, to be honest. But what you want to do is set your position to center, put your theme to endgame, and you're gonna raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest Hakeem on your console, man. Again, you want to scroll with the cheapest one up. Just keep refreshing like this. If Hakeem pops up for about 16,000 MT and below, or about 4K cheaper than the one you're scrolling on, go ahead and pick them up. And then if anybody else pops up for any price point, buy them, man. You snipe so many darn Hakeems for under 15K on this filter, man. At least I have been the last week. So give this one a try. Definitely, like I said, it's probably my favorite right now in the game. The next filter we're going to go over is to try and get some top tier snipes, man. What you want to do is set your position to either center, or you can also do power forward, center, endgame. Raise your minimum bid up to 100K. This might only work on Xbox, depending on how many cards are up on PlayStation. Set your minimum buyout to 500. This is kind of like an enable filter, but you don't have to enable. Just scroll through whoever's up here, man. It's a 3 scroll. It's not too bad. You can snipe John Bradley, Yao, Taco on this filter. And then if you do the power forward one, same thing. Maximum minimum bid 100K. Position power forward, theme endgame, minimum buyout 500. On here you've got Wemby, Bobo, and there's somebody else who's not really a sniper. Really, just on this one, it is Wemby and Bobo that you want to snipe on this filter. KP, I guess he's mid. I guess he is profit now. He kind of varies, so make sure you monitor KP's pricing, because sometimes he does only end for 100K. So just keep track of that. Otherwise, these are some two very decent filters to try and snipe cards that are more expensive if that's what you're into and you can't afford endgame enabled. The next filter we're going to go over is the endgame Celtics filter. Set your theme to endgame, put your team to the Celtics, man. If you guys aren't picking up by now, you can any team filter that has more expensive cards on it and nobody's really cheap, you can work it. It's a good filter, man. Theme endgame, team Celtics. You're gonna raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest Larry Bird on your console, man. You want to keep refreshing on the scroll because there are more expensive cards to snipe on here. So keep refreshing on the scroll with the cheapest Larry Bird. Grab him again for about 4,000 MT, cheaper than the cheapest one. And if anybody else pops up, man, go ahead and buy them as quick as possible. You can snipe Jason Tatum and Taco Fall on this filter as well. So give it a try, man. I've also had a lot of success on this filter. The next filter we're gonna go over is the Yao Ming cheapest filter, man. This is still a great filter, man. What you want to do is set your name to Yao Ming, put your color to dark matter, and you're gonna raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest Titans Yao on your console, which sells for about 18, 19,000. It looks like. You want to scroll again with the cheapest Yao up, man, because that way you have the best chance to snipe the endgame Yao and the hero Yao, which are both snipes at this price point, man. So grab hero and endgame Yao if they pop up for any price point. Then obviously just grab Titans Yao Ming for about 4K and below, cheaper than the cheapest one. So 18.5, grab it for about 14,500. and resell for profit. And the next filter we're gonna go over is the center dark matter wizards filter. Set your position to center, put your color to dark matter, set your team to the wizards, man, and you're gonna scroll your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest KP on your console, who is still expensive. You're going for about 7.5 to 8,000 MT on Xbox. You want to scroll with the cheapest KP up, grab him if he pops up for about 5k and below, just to make sure you sell him for profit, man. About 5, maybe you can do 5,500 if you want, and then if anybody else pops up, obviously buy him as quick as possible. You can see Manute Bowl and George Mirison on this filter as well. You snipe one of them, you're making tons of profit, so pick them up if they pop up for any price on the scroll you're working, man. Great filter. So just like this bender here on another great filter we haven't gone over, man. It's the small forward position. Set your color to dark matter. You're gonna put your team to the Pacers, man. Make sure you guys do this and don't just hard scope bender. You're gonna raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest bender on your console, who is way up in price again, man. It's going for over 9,000 MT. What you want to do with this filter is just bring your maximum buyout down to about 7,000 MT. You can work a scroll so that way, because you can also see Invincible Danny Granger on this filter, but I would just bring my maximum buyout down to 7,000, man. Just keep refreshing, snipe bender if he pops up, and then reselling for profit. Obviously, if Danny Granger pops up for under 7k, snipe him as well, as he is definitely profit, man. This is a great filter. I mentioned this last week that the dark matter cheapest filter was going way up in price, man. It's even higher now. This filter has been great lately. What you want to do is set your color to dark matter. You're going to raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest dark matters on your console, which are selling for about 5,400 right now on Xbox, which is crazy. I've been scrolling on the cheapest one, so that way you have the best chance to get any, invincible and endgame snipes and whatnot if they pop up for like 5k, which happens kind of frequently. Otherwise, you could bring your maximum buyout down to about 4,500 MT and just snipe anything that pops up. I've been, like I said, scrolling, grabbing any cheap dark matters for 4,500 and below, and then if an invincible or an endgame or anyone more expensive pops up, buy them as quick as possible, man. The next filter we're gonna go over is the invincible cheapest filter. This filter still has been very active, man. Set your theme to invincible. You're gonna raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest invincibles on your console, which are going for about 9,000 MT, man. At this point, since it's not getting so many pop-ups, I would just recommend you scroll on the cheapest one. Grab any expensive invincible that you see pop up, like Giannis, Shaq, T-Mac, man. Anybody you know is more expensive, go ahead and grab them if they pop up on the scroll you're working. If you're not sure, or if it's just one of the cheaper ones, you want to go ahead and grab them if they pop up for 7,000 MT and below. The next filter we're going to go over is the endgame cheapest filter, which endgames are so stupid cheap now. They're even cheaper than they were yesterday, man. Set your theme to endgame. You're going to raise your maximum buyout up until you find the cheapest endgames on your console. Looks like they're selling for about 10.4 thousand MT, man. 10.4, 10.35 is kind of the price I would assume that I can sell them for. So I would go ahead and bring my maximum buyout down to about 8,500, man, which is absolutely crazy. You could do 9k if you want, as long as they're selling fairly quickly at like 10.3k. But I would just bring my max buyout down to 8,500 and just keep refreshing, snipe anything that pops up, and then make sure you check its price, because obviously there's a lot of more expensive endgames that you can snipe on this filter. And the last filter we're gonna go over is the endgame max bid 500 filter, man. What you want to do is set your theme to endgame. You're gonna put your maximum bid to 500 and your minimum buyout to 100k. This is kind of like the endgame enable filter. However, you do not have to enable, man. If there's a lot of cards up, you can go ahead and just bid 550 on them, and once you get outbid, they will no longer be on your scroll. If you have to do that, if you have another console, it's better. You can see any endgame in the game on this filter as long as it has a starting bid price of 500, man. So you can see any, Taco, Yao, Wemby, as long as they're put up for 100k buy it out price with a starting bid of 500, man. Snipes do actually pop up on this, so if you're trying to get some top tier snipes and don't want to enable, this might be a good filter for you to try, man. That is it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, man. Smash that like button for me if you did. If you want to see the video we drop sniping every single endgame, man, click the video that's popping up on screen. Jay Grinds out.